Namaste, a very, very warm welcome to this course on DasMahavidyas, the 10 great cosmic powers. DasMahavidyas are part of the Tantra tradition of spirituality in India, and I am particularly going to teach from this book. Is by Shankarnaraynan. You can buy this on Amazon in India and abroad, but also have a PDF copy in the description here. Tantra has been part of my journey for about 10 years. I have studied different forms of Tantra, the traditional ones, the classic Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, which is also commentary by Osho. So I've been with Osho for many years, so I've studied that. But I've also studied the very technical uh, aspect of the tantric goddesses. And the very reason my name is Ambika is because I was blessed with the goddess and her grace about 10 years back. And that's how my journey began. Today, I feel live a life of peace and complete grace is because of Devi. And so, this is an attempt to share that grace, share the learnings, and share that potent wisdom that brought me here. This book has been with me for about 2 years, and every time I read it, it feels like the goddess is very present in the process with me. It's been like a Bible for me for my Tantra work, and that's the reason this is the reference we are talking about. So, this course is called the 10 Great Cosmic Powers or the Samahavidya. We'll be studying one goddess at a time in each episode. So, this is episode 1, where we go to Mahakali. Now, as you see here, Mahakali is this huge power or the very dark power of the universe. She's referred to as the supreme consciousness in the one reality eternally. So, this book opens with this beautiful quote or like a line. It says, at first, it becomes conscious itself, holds all in itself, in essence, without reference to time. The creation starts with the extension of this timeless spirit to bring out what is all implied in it. The very meaning of this is that there is a substratum of the supreme consciousness, and on top of it, somehow, this timeless spirit decides that, okay, I'm going to express as this. Like roots decide to basically flower. And that's where the time dimension is born. So, this part is very important to understand that we are trying to uh, objectivize the very subjective nature of the world. And when there is a subject which is like the background, and then there is an object which is in the foreground, that is what is called kála, which is time. Okay. Now, this time assumes a triple status. It has this beautiful 3 word description. It's called Thredhá Nidadhe Padam. So, for creation and the created beings, they have a relative experience, right, of the past, present, and future. Now, why is this experience relative? Is because past is what was present once, and then present is what the future was before. But also, the future is what will be present and the past after a certain point of time, right? And this is a continuous movement of time. This is a continuum. Now, this sequence, this infinite continuum, has apparent different parts. It's an apparent reality because if everything is like, for example, all the mud pots are made of mud, we will not call them mud. We'll call glass a glass, a cup a cup. So, this is an apparent different reality. Now, in these parts, the demarcations how things progress, this characteristic is called death. Okay. So now in death, in Sanskrit, now death is called kála, right? Why is it called kála? Because anytime the continuum breaks, there is a demarcation that is called death. Okay. And now the lord of death is Yama, right? The restrainer. As he restrains the definite continuous movement of time. That's why he is called the Yama. Okay. Now to this time force, there is a power, and there is a power of time, and that is what they call Mahakali. Okay. So they call Kali. So what we should also understand one more thing in this, and this is not in the book, this is my personal reference. There are two kinds of Kalis that you experience. And pardon me for the use of words, but Kali and Mahakali are different. Now, this time aspect that we just discussed is the Kali part of it. But the Mahakali is the timeless dimension where we began. Okay. Now, in Tantra, the creation is not an illusion. In many Vedic philosophies, it's called the dream or the illusion. And I'll explain this. We're going to play around with non duality and Tantra hand in hand because that's exactly how I have journeyed through. So, in the Vedantic traditions, we call this world as Maya or illusion. But in Tantra, we don't see creation as illusion. We see creation as real as the creator. In the process, basically in the process of winning the Godhead, they don't lose the world. The Tantrics are like, everything is super real as all of it is. Okay. So there is no concept of moksha or liberation somewhere beyond. For Tantra, liberation is here and now. Okay. Now one needs to face this fear of death that makes the man mortal in Tantra. That is like the core sadhana or practice or process, however you refer to your sadhana as. Okay. So no sadhana is successful unless one gets over this, and hence Tantra lays down this adoration of Kali, the time force, as the first and foremost of all disciplines of knowledge. So that's why she is the first Mahavidya that we're learning. Because unless you face that, there is nothing going beyond. You cannot progress. Okay. So hence the world is seen as a great symmetry or Mahasamsara or Mahasamshana. Sorry, Mahasamsana. Samshan means a symmetry, a Hindu symmetry. Okay. Something like the Manakarnika Ghat that you may have
Yeah.
uh, heard about or seen in Varanasi. Yeah. Now, what they say is very interesting. They say the divine Mother Kali dances here. She looks ferocious. She's stark naked. Her tongue is lolling, mounted on a dead body. And she has four hands, right? Two of them carry a sword and a severed head. But the other two are left empty. Why? Because one is basically to bestow boons on people, and the other is to take away the fear they have about life. Now, there are two parts of Kali, and you may have heard this. There is Dakshina Kali and there is Bhadra Kali. Okay. Now, these are not two different Kalis. These are two different aspects of people. So, in goddesses in general, their different personalities or different stages of life or different functionality is given a different name. Like, for example, one could be a corporate person in daily life, but on the other end, that same person is a spiritual seeker. So the spiritual seeker is called one certain name, and then the corporate guy is called another. Okay. So that's the only thing. You don't need to get confused on, oh, are these different forms? No, they're different personalities. So coming back to Dakshina Kali. Okay. Now, destruction with divine discernment. That is the job of Dakshina Kali. So what is she doing? She's preparing you for the dark death. So she basically brings the dark night of the soul lessons, the hard, difficult, strenuous part of your journey. And the tantrics define it so beautifully. They say it's a skillful performance that is curated by her for your death. It's a skillful performance, means it's orchestrated in the best way possible for you to learn the lesson in the best, amazing, most potent way. Very often, this is a very, very uncomfortable process for everyone. Not only me, I'm sure you have gone through this. But this skillful performance can be appreciated only when you have integrated the lesson in it. Yeah. So having compassion while you go through it, but also an awareness that this is Dakshina Kali's play and this is going to change. And how will it change? When Bhadra Kali appears. That's the dawn after the dark day, the dark death. Bhadram means auspiciousness in Sanskrit. So then the Bhadra Kali rises. Okay. Is it one time that the death happens? This happens far too many times. So lot of times people will have successive deaths. But what are those? Those are milestones in the highway of your life, in your spiritual journey. These deaths are milestones. And then we say, oh, I lived a lifetime in this last 1 year. Why do you say that? Where is that expression coming from? That is the play of Kali. Yeah. And what she says, that's her response when you are trying to see what she does. She says, there are 1,000 gates that open to eternity, and each gate is this one death that you experience. So you might experience 1,000 deaths, 1,000 versions of you dying before the actual dawn, where you experience the union with the divine appears in your life. Yeah. Now she represents, basically, if you really go to see, now we're going macro. The micro part is our life and our struggles and our journey, whereas the macro is, she represents the evolutionary principle, the gradual unfoldment of divine possibilities. So primarily, in her essence, she is the evolutionary principle. And that is the reason, the very reason she is called Kundalini Shakti. You may have seen this black serpent kind of a sign of Kundalini. Now, what is it? It is a black serpent lying coiled and asleep in the inner body of the being. So, it's basically, in layman terms, potential energy or potential for evolution of oneself. This is Kundalini Shakti. And a lot of people, including Osho, made a lot of these meditations to evoke this so that we have speedy transformation. So when Kundalini awakens in one person, there's a speedy transformation towards yogic consciousness. Yeah. This is a very fast paced consciousness change. Yeah. Or rise, you can say. Now, I'm very careful about using these words as advancement or rise, because none of this is really linear. You know, your spiritual journey is not linear. It goes up, then it goes down, and then it goes and up, down. So, we're talking about a spiral increase in consciousness and not up, down. So, not linear. Yeah, just for reference. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, another part that Shankarnaraynan, the author of this book, says is, she's not for the weak. And I totally agree to this. This path is meant for the warriors. They call them Veeras. Yeah. Because what she does, she highlights the delusion. Actually, most of us are the delulus in this world right now, who think that I am separate and the other is. And we have the pain of someone hurting us, rejecting us, abandoning us. all the pain from our parents, all the pain of our children, or the pain of our partners, all this delusional idea that somewhere I am separate and then I'm hurt, she highlights all of that. That is usually your dark night of the soul or the soul calling or the journey in itself. Yeah. So that is what is this is the hard part. That's why she's not a very she has tough love for you because she highlights the delusional aspect of the being. Now her mantra is Krim, Krim. Very simple. Krim. It just evokes the Kundalini. Now, Kundalini is basically also the pranic force. Hence, a lot of pranic related, breathwork related practices can help you with your Kundalini awakening. We're not going into practices as much in this course. This is more of a conceptual course right now. We would do an advanced course where we will practice and I will make sure that I handhold also. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, all your emotions, all your impulses, all intense feelings are the movement of Kali in you. Now, one simplest way to recognize this right now in your body is to see where your in breath and out breath unites. It comes together. Yeah. So uniting consciousness between inhalation and exhalation is the method to awaken the Kundalini and worship Kali. Yeah. So you become conscious of this pranic force and then you proceed. At last, at the end of this process of sadhana, this spiritual aspect, one understands all here is a mystery of contraries, darkness, a magic of self hidden light, suffering, some secret, rapture's tragic mask, and death, an instrument of perpetual life. So, this is Mahakali. If you have any questions, this would be a good time to ask. I'm going to bring her again. Yes.
Thanks for sharing, Ambika. You mentioned about Shamshan,
Yeah.
and then I was wondering, I thought maybe you mentioned samsara. Is there a connection between the two?
Yeah. So, um, the word samsara ideally refers to Maya, the illusion or the world around us, basically, the normal world in which we live. Whereas Samshan is the place where we think the samsara ends. We feel that
Yeah.
there is the end of its life. I know. But Mahakali has nothing to do with that. She's standing there, she's blessing you in both these things. Whether you're going through the samsara and your soul lessons, or as the last lesson to face the death. So she brings the death so that you can face it. That's the interconnection between the two.
Okay. And how does tantric aspect in that compare to Vedantic aspect differ?
Hmm.
It feels differ, but so more specifically, I'm wondering about reincarnation. Because in the
Hmm.
tantric you mentioned that the Maya is the real world, and in the Vedantic it's it's you're going through this phase is
Hmm.
a Maya, it's not reality. So I was
Hmm.
wondering how does tantric way sees the reincarnation?
So they it's this exact same idea that uh, there is no body per se. Body is like how we will change clothes will change the body, and The whole idea there is, so reincarnation is a small capsule of time,
Mhm.
whereas both the traditions, or I feel just the ultimate truth is that the whole facade is the whole, sorry, the background is completely timeless. So this capsule of time may, whatever, you have one lifetime, but if you are on a spiritual path, and if specifically you're talking about the Samahavidyas, or you're on the journey, you have already realized that I want have to have this as the last birth, right? I don't want to reincarnate. I don't want to come again to this world of suffering. So in the last lifetimes, maybe you were ignorant and you didn't know. But in the last lifetime, before the lifetime just before this, you realize that there's something more to this. And I need to dig deeper in there. And that is the very reason in this lifetime you're doing these sadhanas at an early age. So one realizes there is this deep seated realization in each one of us that I am a timeless being and I'm experiencing a life of XYZ. Like how you go to a Van Gogh experience. You're inside a painting, but are you
Mhm.
the painting still? You're not. You fully know that you are. So you're inside a lifetime. Experience this as the Van Gogh experience and then come out of it. So it's the capsule of time. Reincarnation is just a capsule of time. It has nothing to do with the actual reality of things. And we'll go deeper in these aspects in Tara and the other goddesses also.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
So are we good?
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. I have a gift for you in the description. The PDF copy of this book is ready to download. If you have any questions or you want to connect personally to learn, please contact me on my email ID that's given in the description. Shri Matre Namah.